Peoria Civic Center as we kick off the 100th anniversary of IHSA Boys Basketball, home to the America's original March Madness. Hi everyone, and welcome to the 100th tournament celebration of Illinois high school basketball. I'm Sarah Kustak, and it's a great thrill to be joining you for these next 2 weekends as we get set to tip off Game 1 of the state quarterfinals. And for your call of the game today, we've got Kurt Pegler and Cal Hubbard.
It is quarterfinal Friday in Peoria. Welcome to the Peoria Civic Center, the first of 4 games in the Class A Boys Basketball Elite 8. Kurt Pegler along with Cal Hubbard, the former coach at U-High and the 1995 Class A state champion. In this first matchup, Cal, it's Maroa-Forsyth against West Carroll. Everybody in the arena wants to know, is Robert Krebs, the all-stater for Maroa, going to play?
That's a very good question, and we still don't know that, but we do know that he's a very valuable member of his team. His team needs him, and I know he'll be feeling a lot of pressure to play, and the coach will be feeling pressure to play him, but we don't know whether it's safe or not.
He had his appendix taken out on Sunday. So let's take a look at how these two teams made their way here to the Elite Eight. We'll start with West Carroll, which has been named the visiting team for this first quarterfinal matchup. Their road to Peoria included a victory over Riverdale for the regional championship. Then the River Ridge sectional included wins over Pearl City and the host team River Ridge, before the Thunder beat Monmouth-Roseville in the Moline Super Sectional on Tuesday night. Meanwhile, Maroa-Forsyth won the Tri-Valley Regional Championship over Lexington, then went to Stanford in the sectional there, beat Fieldcrest and Eureka for the title, and then on Tuesday, without Robert Krebs at Illinois State University, won the normal Super Sectional, defeating St. Joe Ogden. Now, when we talk about key players for this game, Cal, let's first talk about West Carroll. They've got a very fine junior guard in Chris Anderson.
Chris Anderson is an excellent player, and he's playing really well right now. He's a very good scorer, and right now he's the hottest player, offensive player on the team for West Carroll, but they also have another player in Brims that's an excellent scorer as well. So they've got a twofold attack. Now
the key player from Maroa-Forsyth is Robert Krebs, but if he doesn't play, Ben Cochran becomes the man now for the Trojans.
Well, actually they have 3 players averaging in double figures, and Krebs is the key because he makes everybody else better. But if he can't play, then Cochran's going to have to step up his offensive game.
All right, how about the keys to the game? We'll talk about both teams. First, with West Carroll, these are your keys to the game, brought to you by your Chevy dealers, proud to support high school athletes and their families. Best of luck in the tournament from your winning Chevy team. How about West Carroll?
West Carroll has to get a quick start. They have to cut down on Maroa's dribble penetration because Maroa has excellent guards, and they have to also control the boards.
Meanwhile, the keys to the game for the Trojans?
Well, defense is always a key for any team, but especially for Maroa. They've got to slow the fast break and channel the ball, and they've got to make sure they pull together if Krebs cannot play.
Buckle in for the first of 4 state quarterfinals here from Peoria. It's Maroa-Forsyth and West Carroll, and it's up next on the IHSA Television Network. Back here at Carver Arena in Peoria, first state quarterfinal. West Carroll 26-5, Maroa-Forsyth 30-1. For an update on the all-stater Robert Krebs, let's go to our sideline reporter, Sarah Kustak.
Thanks. Well, the question looming for Maroa-Forsyth is, will Robert Krebs play? Underwent that emergency appendectomy last Sunday, didn't play in the Super Sectional, caught up with Coach Culver before the game, and he said that is looking good. They worked him out this morning. He's moving well, and it looks like Krebs will start, so positive for the Trojans.
Well, certainly that adds a whole new aspect to this basketball game, doesn't it, Cal?
It's really going to be a lift for Maroa's team.
You've played in this before. This is just a neat atmosphere, isn't this?
It's a neat atmosphere. The big problem the kids have is getting used to the background because it's an arena. But most of the kids who play down here have been in an arena before. So it's going to be interesting to see how their shooting adjusts.
And it is a great matchup. 30-1 Maroa-Forsyth, the Trojans, against 26-5 West Carroll, the Thunder. And now let's go to our public address announcer, Paul Herzog.
The first quarterfinal game in 2007. He beats the West Carroll Trojans 26-5. And the Maroa-Forsyth 31. Thank you, as we thank them. And now, please remove your caps and dress the flag you handle your heart as our soloist, Sarah McShane, a senior at Hinsdale South in Darien, sings our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets hit the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now let's meet the teams. For the Thunder of Savannah West Carroll, a 5'9" senior guard, 13, Jacob Larson. 6' senior center, 14, Matt Birch. 5'10" junior guard, 21, Drew Galantine. 6' junior guard, 22, Ryan Ashby. 6' senior guard, 23, Leighton Metter. 5'9" senior guard, 24, Brian Lachelle. 5'8" senior guard, 31, James Nye. 6'3" junior center, 33, Austin Ashby. A 6'1" senior forward, 34, Nick Starr. And a 6'2" junior forward, 35, Jacob Sweeney. And now the Trojans of Maroa-Forsyth. A 5'10" sophomore forward, 12, Bo Sullivan. 6'1" freshman guard, 13, Wyatt Washburn. 6'1" junior forward, 14, Dave Painter. 5'8" sophomore guard, 21, Michael Scott. 5'8" sophomore guard, 24, Darren Sill. 6'3" senior center, 25, Andrew Mills. A 6'1" junior center, 30, Ben Kent. The 6' sophomore, a guard, 35, Jordan Zellhart. 6'4" senior forward, 40, Chris Damon. And a 5'10" senior forward, 42, Travis Tracer. And now the starting lineups for this quarterfinal contest. At a guard for West Carroll, a 5'10" junior, 3, Derek Atherton. At a guard, Maroa-Forsyth, a 6' senior, 3, Robert Krebs. For the Thunder, a 6'3" senior guard, 4, Zach Brem. For the Trojans, a 5'10" junior guard, 4, Matt Guyman. For West Carroll, a 6'4" junior forward, 5, Chris Anderson. For Maroa-Forsyth, a 6'3" senior forward, 5, C.J. McClellan. For the Thunder, a 6'1" senior forward, number 10, Reed Yoakum. For the Trojans, a 5'9" senior guard, 10, Ben Cochran. And for West Carroll, a 5'6" senior guard, 55, Rod Naples. And for Maroa-Forsyth, a 6'5" senior forward, 50, Dustin Moore. Coaching in his 6th season, his 2nd at Savannah, a record of 49-12, head coach Josh Knuth. Assistant coaches Ron Bull, T.J. Zembrovitz, Jerry Biederman, and Chris Yepsen. Coaching in his 8th season, all at Forsyth, a record of 152-77, Chad Kluber. Assistant coaches Randy Kluber and Phil Appleby. No other state in America can claim the rich history and tradition that's been generated by March Madness in Illinois. It's America's original March Madness. Please direct your attention to the arena floor and meet the officials for this game. The referee, Dana Pearson of Cobden, Jack Scott of Brownstown, and Mike Austin of Murfreesboro. Presenting the game for this quarterfinal game will be Paul Blackhurst, Vice President, Kitchen Cook Potato Chips, one of the sponsors of the March Madness Experience next door in the exhibit hall. All of us thank Kitchen Cook Potato Chips for their contribution to the greatest high school single event in the land.
All right, let's take a look again at those starting fives. The lineups are brought to you by Dunkin' Donut. America runs on Dunkin'. Shades of Walt Frazier. Robert Krebs is going to start for Maroa-Forsyth just 5 days after having an emergency appendectomy. Krebs, Guyman, Cochran, McClellan, Moore, the 5 for the Trojans. Atherton, Bren, Anderson, Yoakum, and Naples, the 5 for West Carroll. The visiting team, West Carroll, in its green road jerseys with white and black trim. The Trojans of Maroa-Forsyth wearing their home whites with blue trim, and they control the tap as Dustin Moore taps it back. And here's Robert Krebs, the all-stater, just 5 days removed from an emergency appendectomy. Takes it right to the basket, had the ball knocked out of his hands and out of bounds, and he drew it. No, it's an offensive foul on Krebs.
Wouldn't you know he would take it to the basket on the first possession.
You take a look at the maps of where these two teams are from. Maroa-Forsyth, 72 miles south of Peoria near Decatur. Savannah made the 132-mile trek to Peoria from the northwest corner of the state. West Carroll is Mount Carroll, Thompson, and Savannah combined for a good basketball team. And West Carroll turned the basketball over on its first offensive possession.
That'll probably be the only time all year that the Maroa crowd is quiet when Krebs went to the floor.
Well, he had a whale of a tournament here last year, helping the Trojans to a third-place finish. This is West Carroll's first trip to state. Cochran's three is good. Now, this is a guy that has stepped up big time in the absence of Krebs. He averages 13 points a game, but in his last 2 games here in the postseason, 26-point efforts on both ends. And a sectional win over Eureka and a super sectional win over St. Joe Ogden on Tuesday night. And the Thunder again turned the basketball over on their second possession. Cochran's feeling it.
Real good penetration into the lane on all 3 possessions so far. West Carroll's going to have to cut down on the penetration.
That is Maroa-Forsyth's game, isn't it, Cal? They love to dribble penetrate.
They really do. Everything's off the dribble.
First shot of the game is no good by Rod Naples, who's an excellent 3-point shooter for the Thunder. Good defense that time. Hustling back to knock the ball out of bounds is Reed Yoakum. Let's take a look at these two cities. Again, we mentioned that West Carroll is from Savannah. Maroa-Forsyth, again, down near Decatur. You see the population differential. Back to live action. That is Robert Krebs actually with an air ball. It's going to take him a little while, you would imagine, to get back in the flow of the game.
Well, yes, it is. especially on the defensive end, because it's so much harder work down there.
That's him, the All-State guard. He's headed to the University of Illinois, Chicago. Unanimous All-Stater, and again, missed the game on Tuesday, recovering from his emergency appendectomy, and played just sparingly, I should say practiced sparingly this week, and was a part of the shoot-around yesterday. And in the starting lineup today, offensive board and stick back by Rob Naples. So the Thunder on the board now. Quickly back up the floor, the Trojans, and it's going to be a blocking foul whistle against the Thunder. We are experiencing some sunspot outages throughout the course of today. Viewers, be advised, due to the solar sunspot, some of you may lose our program for a couple of minutes. The problem is not your TV station, or your cable provider. The problem will clear up in a few minutes, so please bear with us. We're just underway. We played 2 minutes of the first state quarterfinal here in Peoria. Maroa-Forsyth 5, West Carroll 2. Dustin Moore's short shot is missed, and it's cleared by Reed Yoakum. Quickly back up the floor now. Come the Thunder. They've had a hard time getting into their offensive sets. Offensive rebound by Anderson. Can't get it. Sticks it back in. So Anderson, who averages just about 14 points a game, is on the board.
Both teams are really attacking the basket very hard right now, but West Carroll is really doing a good job on the boards, which is one thing they have to do to be successful.
They've out-rebounded Maroa-Forsyth 6-1 here in the early going. C.J. McClellan, skip pass over to the corner. It's Cochran again, missed it. In and out of Moore's hands, on the floor. The Thunder come away with it. It's Naples, quickly ahead to Brem, who throws the lane and can't finish. Preps, kick out now to Cochran. Great pace here in the early going.
The kids are very excited. They're really pumped up, and they're playing so hard.
Preps is the leading scorer in the tournament, coming in averaging 24.5 points a game. That's him in the basketball. Cochran again from the corner left. Missed it. And a three on the other end is missed by West Carroll as well. Both teams are having a hard time getting the ball in the hole.
Shooting is always a problem early in the state tournament with the nerves and with the different backgrounds.
West Carroll 2 out of 9 in the early going for 22%. Maroa-Forsyth 2 of 6 here in the opening minutes. Nice drop down pass. McClellan slipped the ball to Matt Diamond, who scored on the low block. 7-4, the Trojans' advantage. And the three for the tie is missed that time by Naples. Quickly back up the floor. McClellan running the floor. He saved it. Nicely done.
Run it! Be patient!
Preps again looks just a little tentative, we'd say here, Cal, as he's playing in his first game in a week.
I think it's more that he hasn't been with the kids. He hasn't been practicing with them, and it's going to take him a little while to get that rhythm back. But you can see how they feed off of him on every offensive possession. The ball gets in his hands.
Matt Guyman is now 2 for 2 as he knocks down that jumper. He's got 4 of his team's 9 points. And a jump ball alternate possession favors West Carroll.
West Carroll takes this, the alternating jump ball.
And we've got a timeout on the floor. We're just underway here. The first state quarterfinal. Maroa-Forsyth 9, West Carroll 4. Back with more from Peoria after these local messages.
Welcome back to the Peoria Civic Center. I'm here in court game number 1. Maroa-Forsyth leads West Carroll 9-4. And you guys, West Carroll is actually a convergence of 3 schools back in the second ever state tournament, 1909. They placed 3rd, followed that up in 2 years with a 4th place finish. And then looking back to 2003, they got that 2nd place finish. The other school that we have there, Savannah, is one of the earliest playing schools, went 1-3 in the first season ever, 1902-03, and then also in the mid-70s and 80s won 6 wrestling Class A state titles. And then for Thompson, they grabbed the 4th place trophy in 1972, the first ever Class A state tournament. So you got a great history from those 3 towns.
Indeed, Sarah. In fact, the head coach, Josh Knuth, told us that there's such a rivalry in that part of the state between those schools that there was some thought, well, gee, this convergence won't work, and it certainly has. And it's the first trip to state for West Carroll as all three towns have chipped in, and that's going to be a short jump shot by Chris Anderson. So you take a look at Mount Carroll with 4 trips to state, second here in 2003. Thompson with a trip to basketball state back in 1972. And now the town of Savannah gets a chance to say, hey, we're contributing to this state thing too with this team. There's a short shot from the baseline by Matt. Guyman's got the hot hand early now for the Trojans.
Yes, he does, but the pace of play is right where both teams want it. They're pushing the ball hard. The ball is not really getting where they want it to yet, but they are really attacking the basket quickly.
Rob Naples missed the shot, and the ball's out of bounds, and it's going to go to Maroa-Forsyth. There you get a good look at that head coach Josh Knuth in his 6th season. You take a look at the team comparisons. Very close as far as their scoring averages are concerned.
Pretty exciting to be a 29-year-old man and be down here with your team. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he said he came down here in 03 when Mount Carroll played, and he was a fan, and he said it's so much better to be on the floor and be a coach.
It is. It's a lot better that way.
Guyman. Matt Guyman is 4 for 4. He has 8 of his team's 13 here in the opening quarter as we approach the 2-minute mark left here, first period. And we've got a whistle away from the basketball, and it's going to go against West Carroll. It's going to be against Leighton Metter. That's his first.
Both teams are still feeling one another out right now. It's their first substitutions. You've got to get some kids that you're going to count on in the game and get them sweating a little bit, see what they're going to do in front of the lights.
David Painter had given Robert Krebs a 2-minute breather, and now Krebs, after that timeout, has re-entered the game for Maroa-Forsyth. Quickly back at the floor now, it's Cochran. His no-look pass is tipped to the corner, chased down by Krebs. Both these teams are very quick.
Yes, I'm really impressed with the quickness on both teams, but the size on West Carroll and the strength, they're really doing a good job on the boards and second shots.
Krebs, 15-footer. He's still 0 for. Ball's on the floor. Thunder come away with it. And now they're quickly back up the floor. Can Brent track it down behind the back? Nicely done. But Krebs back there to swat away the shot. What a sequence. If you thought that all Robert Krebs could do was score.
He's the complete package. He really is. He's going to start feeling more comfortable here pretty soon shooting the ball. I'm sure fatigue is a problem for him. It's hard to have your legs when you've been out for a week.
Under a minute to go. Krebs missed the shot, ball's out of bounds, and it's going to go to Maroa-Forsyth. (13-6), the early advantage for Maroa-Forsyth over West Carroll. Kurt Pegler, Cal Hubbard with you, IHSA Television Network. The first of 4 state quarterfinals here in Peoria. Class A Boys Basketball Championship Weekend. And glad you're alongside on the IHSA Television Network. C.J. McClellan can't get it to go. Ball knocked out of the hands of Andrew Mills. But Maroa keeps it, and it's a lay-in by McClellan.
The second shots have really been playing a big part in the game early for both teams.
And it's a 15-6 Trojans advantage. West Carroll in its first trip to state trying to fight some of these butterflies early. Here's Anderson. He's guarded intently now by Guyman.
The quick hands and quick feet of Maroa are really making a difference on the defensive end. They are really getting up in West Carroll's face, and their kids have not gone to their secondary break areas.
Big shot by Anderson, and it's going to be the final points of the quarter. And that does it. The first 8 minutes in the book. Maroa-Forsyth 15 and West Carroll 9. Back with more from Carver Arena in the Class A state quarterfinals after these messages from your network sponsors.
Back here here at the Peoria Civic Center. We're in the second quarter as Maroa-Forsyth leads West Carroll 15-9. And Maroa-Forsyth has some familiar faces to state tournaments. 4 of these players played on the football team that won the Class 2A state championship game earlier this November, beating a Westfield team 43-22. 3 seniors, Andrew Mills, Dustin Moore, and Robert Krebs, who we've heard a lot about, who caught 9 passes, had 2 touchdowns, 7 tackles, along with sophomore Bo Sullivan. And after a third-place finish, guys, last year in Peoria, these seniors have already put together quite a finish for their high school careers.
Well, you know how that works, Cal. A lot of times in those smaller towns, the football players play basketball, and the basketball players play baseball. And when you have success in one sport like they had in football, winning a state championship, there's a big carryover factor.
There is, and it's too bad that high schools are losing that idea. We want kids to play more sports because it helps their competitive levels. And these kids, they win in one sport, they're winners. They can win in another one.
Yeah, this Trojans senior class, 110 in 4 years of basketball. And they've got the basketball now. It's Dustin Moore, missed the shot, but there's a whistle, and it's going to go against the Thunder. Let's take a look at those first quarter stats. Brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. West Carroll 4 of 14 from the floor. Is that just first game jitters, you think, Cal?
I think part of it is the defensive pressure put on by Maroa. They got some takeaways, and the kids weren't comfortable shooting the ball from West Carroll. But I think the players they want to shoot it weren't shooting it. I think that'll improve.
And I think if you're Chad Kluver and you're told that Krebs plays the first quarter and doesn't score and your team is ahead by 7, you're probably pretty happy.
Exactly. But he's been a part in a lot of the scores.
And again, the Thunder turn the basketball over. It's their 4th turnover here as they're trying to settle down and playing in their first state game. Quickly back up the floor come the Trojans. Here's Cochran, hangs, fires, and rolls in. They run the floor so well.
Well, they really do, and they attack pressure well, and the floor is being extended defensively by West Carroll. I'm not sure how deep they are, but it could tell on them in the second half.
And again, the active hands of the Trojans defense. They tie up on Chris Anderson. The alternate jump ball possession will favor West Carroll. And so the Thunder will maintain possession. And we've got a substitution now as Reed Yoakum leaves the game.
Their foot and hand quickness is the most impressive thing right now about the Trojans. They are really quick on the defensive end, and they're covering for one another really well.
Leighton Metter checks in now for the Thunder, who have the basketball and trail 18-9, first minute of the second quarter. Brem's shot hits the side of the backboard. Now it's McClellan, nearly picked at the timeline. Move the ball, nice spacing to the open shooter, and that's Robert Krebs' first basket of the afternoon, and it's a 3.
The patience shown by not taking the first shot and moving the basketball and attacking the defense was the difference that time.
Leighton Metter was cut off by the big Dustin Moore, 6'5", 260, couldn't get around him in the low post.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It looked worse than it was, but he did drag his foot.
You see that West Carroll has won 10 of its last 11 games. Its longest winning streak of the season at 9 games. Maroa-Forsyth had a 23-game winning streak to start the year. Ranked #1 for much of the season in Class A boys basketball.
This is a critical time of the game for West Carroll right here. They need to have a good offensive possession and a good shot. They didn't get a good shot, but they made it.
Hey, Chris Anderson will take it. He banks home the 3. And now Anderson is the first player in double digits here. He's got 10 of his team's 12 points. Maroa-Forsyth spreads the floor very well, makes that extra pass, and it's not a team that you want to be chasing 8 or 9 points down.
No, it's not, but some of the pressure is being brought by West Carroll. They're really extending their defense and forcing Maroa to make an open court decision, and so far their decisions have been very good.
C.J. McClellan has an open 3, and that's down.
Every time you leave them with an open shot, they're going to make it, and not every time, but they're very good shooters, very good perimeter shooters.
And after hitting just 3 of their first 8 shots from the floor, Maroa-Forsyth now shooting 59%, 10 of 17, and now West Carroll head coach Josh Knuth wants to talk things over.
Well, early, Maroa was impatient. They were taking the ball to the basket and then taking their first option. Now they've slowed down, and they're finding the open man and getting the ball to the people they want to be shooting it.
Don't forget, up next, quarterfinal game number 2. The #1 ranked and undefeated team in the state, Nashville, taking on Teutopolis. That's coming up after this one. And if you're looking for something for your backyard or for your entire family that you can enjoy, visit sportcourt.com for the latest backyard activities. Nashville and T-Town follow this one in the defense of the Trojans.
Yeah, well, both teams, I think, are playing good defense, but they're playing defense, trying to speed up the tempo, and both teams are pushing the ball. It's just Maroa's had a little more success on the offensive end.
Nice crowd here at Carver Arena for this first of 4 quarterfinal games. Josh Knuth, the head coach of the West Carroll Thunder, asked us to pass along a hello to his grandparents, Sue and Bob Knuth, watching us in Savannah, unable to make the trip to Peoria. It's a hot ticket down here, but both of these teams have really brought nice fan contingents.
Yes. Class A has had such good support over the years in Peoria and in Champaign, and they're so excited. And that's it. High school basketball is great. It's so much fun to watch.
Big possession here now for West Carroll. And a travel violation whistled against the Thunder. The ball was inside, but Brian Lachelle had it in a very difficult position.
Yes, he got in there and had nothing to do with the ball. I thought Maroa did a good job of holding their position.
Full court pressure now by the Thunder, and quickly up the floor the Trojans. An alert play by Ben Cochran. He was falling out of bounds. He threw the ball off his defender, Reed Yoakum, and so the Trojans will maintain possession.
I thought it was a good pass. Anytime you got a kid one hand in the ball, it's going to be hard for him to control it in a pressure situation.
Krebs pump fake, steps inside, knocks down the jumper. So he's starting to get in the flow of the game.
Those are 2 big baskets for him. He's starting to look a lot smoother in his offensive sets.
On the other side, answering with a 3 is Rob Naples, who shoots the 3-point shot at 41%. He's a good player, a solid player, a captain that the Thunder coaching staff said really came on about the middle of the season. They said he came out of nowhere, and he's really been a key factor and a key contributor to this run to state by West Carroll.
Their best 3-point shooter, and you don't see many 55s at 5'6".
That's
so
right.
That's great to see.
I thought the same thing. He's got a linebacker's number, and he's 5'6". You gotta love that kind of guy.
The biggest number for the smallest guy. That's great.
As we approach the halfway mark of this second quarter, Maroa-Forsyth with an 11-point advantage in the basketball. And a turnover. Thunder trying to take advantage. There's Brem Linden with the left hand. So Zach Brem runs the floor. He's rewarded with a layup. His first 2 points of the afternoon.
It's the first turnover I remember being forced by West. What a play.
Cochran behind the back to Tracer. And the foul.
Excellent penetration. Again, every time there's penetration, there's been a good shot.
So quickly after West Carroll scores off a turnover, the Trojans come right back down the floor and score off a turnover.
Maroa doesn't waste any time attacking. Once the ball's inbounded, they are pushing it the entire time. And the pace of play is right into their hand.
Travis Tracer, the senior forward, makes good on the 3-point play, and we've got an official's timeout. 12-point lead for Maroa-Forsyth with 3:43 to go until halftime. This is the IHSA Television Network in Peoria. Back with more after these local messages. Backdoor play. It's Krebs. He draws contact. The foul's going to go against Yoakum, and Krebs is going to go to the free throw line. And you take a look at those turnovers now. West Carroll's last trip down the floor resulted in its 6th turnover, and then the points off turnovers, a big key stat.
Yes, it is. Anytime you can score off another team's turnover, it's an advantage for you. But I was really interested that time. They set Krebs had scored the last 2 times he had the ball. They broke him at the outside. They had him on a backdoor cut, and he got fouled and got to the line. They're doing things to make sure he's involved. And I just heard their coach saying, you know, don't baby it, you know, and that's a hard thing. You're coming off surgery. It's hard not to. But he is, what a player.
You see Drew Galantine enters the game now for the Thunder. He was a manager on the 03 Mount Carroll runner-up team, and now he's on the floor at Carver Arena playing in a state game.
Isn't that great?
Fadeaway jump shot that time by Lachelle is no good. Good offensive rebound by Galantine. And so the Thunder get another crack at it.
Much better movement by West Carroll on the offensive end, and they ended up getting a penetration and a foul.
And they're going to be rewarded with some foul shots. It appears again the dribble drive by Rob Naples, and a very good foul shooter at 80%. He's going to get to the free throw line. 5'6", 145-pound senior guard, one of the tri-captains on this team. As we kind of joked, he's the littlest guy on the floor, and he's got the biggest number, 55. So he's got a big, big heart, though. What a great player he's been here down the stretch for West Carroll.
He's also got a really good stroke, and he's going to need to get some more shots.
David Painter has now entered the game for the Trojans, as he sends Travis Traynor to the floor. Travis Tracer, I should say, to the bench. Both foul shots are made there by Naples. And a near steal, that time in the backcourt.
West Carroll finally forced a mistake on Maroa, and Maroa did not get to the right place.
Now Krebs to walk the ball up the floor for the Trojans, who have an 11-point advantage with 2.5 minutes to go here in this opening half of the first state quarterfinal game at Carver Arena. We are in downtown Peoria for March Madness 2007. Krebs' pass is picked off. Nice anticipation that time and running the floor. It was Lachelle with the steal, and a block on the other end by Krebs. Now it's McClellan in the front court. He's down with the left hand, and he's rejected. Anderson back on the defensive end.
What a great sequence right there.
Both teams running the floor and playing some D. Anderson pump fake, drives the lane, scooped it up, got his rebound, stuck it back in.
West Carroll's got some athletic kids that are starting to feel more a part of the game right now. But that was an incredible 2 block shots on either end of the floor. Just a lot of passion there.
And Chris Anderson, who tweaked his ankle in the super sectional victory on Tuesday, looks very good on the floor right now for West Carroll, which comes away with another steal. And the Thunder have some momentum. Yoakum the loose ball. Missed shot. Cleared by Guyman. Foul against the Thunder in the backcourt.
The last 2 turnovers by Maroa came about because of the just bad decisions on when to pass the basketball.
Stay tuned at halftime for our Chevy Performance Studio Show with Lee Hall, Roger Lowe, and Cliff Cameron. You'll get to see our Legends Conversation brought to you by the National Association of Realtors. And our Legends Conversation will be with Brad Bickett from Bureau Valley. Boy, look at those comfy chairs. I hope they've got... You're one of the legends. You're going to be topped out in one of those chairs here soon, I think. Huh, Cal?
My wife's sitting over in it right now.
Krebs from the left corner, no good. And the long rebound goes to Brian Lachelle. The Thunder now feeling a little bit more confident in this game. Down the lane and laying it in is Lachelle. He started it on the defensive end with a rebound and finished it on the offensive end. Now Krebs draws contact. No foul. Anderson clears for West Carroll. The Thunder now in the final minute have closed it within 7.
West Carroll needs to have some patience on the offensive end. They've made 3 good defensive plays in a row, and has got a chance to close it to 5.
Brem backs
Good
in.
move.
Short shot can't get an offensive rebound. It's going to be a foul against C.J. McClellan of Maroa-Forsyth.
What a good move inside, and just didn't quite finish the play, but he gets some free throws.
And West Carroll really has been a lot more aggressive. Haven't they been more active here in the last...
They've been taking the ball down the lane, and Maroa's defense is a little bit slow to recover right now. But, ooh.
Anderson missed the shot, but the long tap goes out, and Naples goes and gets.
Their aggressiveness on the offensive end has really picked up for West Carroll.
Final 10 seconds of this first half now. A three is missed that time by Drew Galantine. If the Trojans get one more shot, it's going to be a lengthy one. A three, a runner is off the glass and in.
Turnabout, fair play, I guess. It's their second bank three.
Ben Cochran before the buzzer. A critical three and a big lift for the Trojans, who have a 10-point lead as they go into the locker room at halftime. And Sarah Kustok is standing by with Trojans head coach Chad Kluber.
Thanks, guys. Coach, big shot at the end of the game. You missed your last couple, but still shooting over 50% for the half. What's the key to your offensive execution?
Well, our guys do a good job of getting the ball to the man when he's open, and we knock down the shot. We don't take bad shots. We try to take contested shots. I thought there towards the end of the half, we did a poor job of taking care of the basketball against their pressure. We got to do a better job of that second half.
And there's been a lot of talk about Robert Krebs. Well, how would you characterize his play so far?
He's doing an excellent job. He'll tell us if he's hurt or not. He's playing real well.
And coach, defensively making some big stops against this team.
Yeah, we got to finish with some rebounds. They've been getting a little too many offensive boards.
Good luck the second half, coach.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. 5-point turnaround in the final seconds, and Maroa-Forsyth has a 10-point halftime lead. Back with more from Peoria. Look at these messages from our network sponsors.
I thought the game started slow for West Carroll. It was obvious their kids had not been here and were not used to the arena. But I thought in the middle part of the second quarter, they really started challenging more on the defensive end, forced some turnovers, and got a couple baskets to go. So they got back in the game. But this next 3 minutes is going to tell us what's going to happen for the second half.
Again, Josh Knuth's team is playing in its first ever state tournament. Maroa-Forsyth finished third here a year ago, and the core of that team is back. So indeed, the advantage that the Trojans have is they've been here before and have played on this stage here in Peoria. As we start the second half, it's Maroa-Forsyth with the lead in the basketball. They're the home team in their home whites. And from the corner, it's Cochran. He's missed. The long rebound is tipped by McClellan, and it's going to be out of bounds to West Carroll. Dana Pearson, Jack Scott, and Mike Austin are working the game, the officials, for this afternoon's first state quarterfinal. It's a big thrill for those guys to be working on the state floor as well.
It's hard work to get here, whether you're an official or player.
And a steal by Cochran, and he's going to lay it in. And it's a 12-point Maroa-Forsyth lead, and Cochran now with 12 points.
That's mark of a good player as he comes right back after a mistake.
And Cochran, who's averaged 13 points a game for the season, is coming off back-to-back 26-point efforts. There's a nice turnaround jump shot by Chris Anderson. This guy's been the hot hand for the Thunder. He scored 47 points in his last 2 games.
Well, West Carroll's been able to get the ball inside whenever they want to. They just haven't wanted to that much. I think we'll see a different emphasis by West Carroll in the second half, and they'll be more inside-outside oriented rather than outside-inside.
And now we've got a whistle, and it's going to be a foul against Zach Grimm, his second in the first of the half against the Thunder. As you see the scoring highs and lows for West Carroll, a 96-point game earlier this year.
Wow. That's a good month for our team.
Yeah, that's right. There are some coaches that didn't score that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Man-to-man D by West Carroll, and now it's Guyman with a great first quarter. Hands off to McClellan, and then they'll reload the offense.
Good patience right there. Good patience.
The Trojans showing some patience, and now it's going to be Krebs for 3.
West Carroll's done a really good job of switching on everything on the perimeter defensively. And they're causing a lot of problems for Maroa. Maroa is slowing down and evaluating what they're doing, and they're not taking anything too quickly.
And now 9 points for the All-Stater Krebs, who missed his first couple of shots from the floor. It's been documented here of his emergency appendectomy on Sunday. Missed the game on Tuesday, the Super Sectional victory over St. Joe Ogden. Minimum of any practice time this past week. Krebs turned the basketball over now, and the Thunder have a chance for their first points of this second half. Check that they do have a basket, by Anderson. And now there's an offensive or defensive rebound by Guyman. Back come the Trojans.
Maroa's team knows each other so well.
Well, they call themselves the Band of Brothers. They use that as their rallying cry. It's been on their shooting shirts all season long. There's Dustin Moore on the nice give and go.
It's just beautiful to watch the way they work together, and they don't rush anything.
The spacing of the floor is so key for the Trojans. Ball is out of bounds, and Maroa-Forsyth is going to get it right back. Well, you mentioned the first 3 minutes of the half very critical for West Carroll, and they don't want to get this game get away from them.
West Carroll needs to get a stop right here, and they'd have a little bit more patience on the offensive end.
Now, West Carroll shot 32% in the first half, and now finds itself in a 15-point hole. Here's McClellan, going to take it right to the rim. Missed the shot. Yoakum, the defensive rebound. And a traveling violation. Another turnover on the backcourt. It's whistled against Derek Atherton.
Number 4, Matt Gunyon, just got hit in the mouth and is going to have to take a break, I'm afraid.
15-point lead for Maroa-Forsyth. Back with more from Peoria after these local messages. For that break, Coach Hubbard spotted this. Matt Guyman got an elbow from Reed Yoakum right in the mouth. And that's him at the timeout getting some attention. We thought initially it may have been a nose, but it looks like it was his teeth that got the worst of that, huh?
That did. They're having trouble stopping the bleeding right now. He noticed, he knew it was happening right away, and it was good there was a break in the action.
So Matt Guyman, who's been a key cog, he's 4 out of 4 from the floor, did most of his damage in the first quarter, is on the Trojans bench getting some medical attention.
He's also been a key on the defensive end.
In his place now, Travis Tracer has entered the game. Don't forget, tomorrow's schedule looks like this. Semifinal game number 1 at 11 o'clock. We've got the Country Insurance 3-point shootout in between games. Semifinal game number 2 at 12:45. Follow that up with the Slam Dunk Contest. 6:30, third place game, 8:15 championship game. Tomorrow, right here along the lines of the IHSA Television Network. Brought to you by SportCourt.com. Now back down the floor, Anderson. Couldn't finish, but he's going to get some free throws out of it.
Good breakout by West Carroll. They need a couple of good offensive possessions before the game gets away.
Ben Cochran picks up the foul, his first. And so to the free throw line goes Anderson.
More importantly, they really have to get some stops at the defensive end.
Anderson, the quarterback of the football team, multiple sports star. As we've mentioned, he's had the hot hand lately, and he's led the team in scoring 15 times this year. In fact, he's coming off his season high, a 24-point performance in the super sectional victory in Moline on Tuesday night over Monmouth-Roseville. And now Maroa-Forsyth walks the ball up the floor with a 15-point lead in the basketball.
It was unfortunate out of the breakaway they had no points.
And a runner in the lane goes down by Ben Cochran. Cochran now with 14 points. And we mentioned the 1-2 punch that he and Krebs really provide in that backcourt of Maroa-Forsyth.
And they're so quick to the basket. They're getting into the lane at will.
Anderson got a good look and he knocked down the 3. So Anderson makes good on a 3-point attempt. That's his third 3-pointer of this basketball game. West Carroll now trying to trap there at the half court. I'm sorry, Cal.
They've just changed up the defense into more of a half-court trap, and they're trying to change the rhythm from Maroa, because Maroa's been doing a good job of attacking them. Now they're back into their man.
McClellan flips to the corner, and Cochran now goes back to McClellan. He's got an open 3 that's short. Long rebound to Cochran, who drives the lane, scooped it up, and banked it in.
What an impressive play right there by Cochran.
Cochran now with 16 points. He's got 6 points here in the third quarter. And now we're going to see Andrew Mills check into the basketball game. He'll replace Dustin Moore. Mills has added 20 pounds since last year. Nice wide body down there. He's going to play football at Princeton. There's a lot of the dirty work down low now for the Trojans. And there's a steal off the tip out. And it's a 2-on-0, and Krebs is going to lay it in. And Maroa-Forsyth is threatening to blow this game wide open now. 46-28, an 18-point advantage. Yoakum tried the lob down low to Anderson, and there's going to be a whistle. Looks like it's going to be a foul against Maroa-Forsyth.
No, I don't.
Is that going to be against CJ?
Nope, you're right.
It's going to be on Anderson. He helped 5.
He hooked him inside. We're setting that up for Anderson down low, and he was called for hooking his defender.
Cochran's a one-man gang as he breaks the press himself and slips the pass down to Mills.
The dribble penetration is really causing problems for West Carroll. And
everything going in the way of the Trojans.
Maroa's getting good shots every time down.
They've outscored West Carroll 15-5 to open the second half. And we've got a whistle, and it's going to be an end line. The ball hit the end line, so the ball's going to go back to the Trojans. Look at this field, and we mentioned how balanced it is. The Elite Eight field is 158-9, or 148-9. You take a look at what this 8-team field has done just since the first of the year.
They've just got strong teams in their areas of the state. They've had just outstanding seasons. There's no one here that doesn't belong here.
Thunder come away with the steal, but a lot to nobody is. McClellan picks it off. Bren evidently miscommunicated with some teammates. Nobody was there for his lob pass. Ball is kicked out of bounds by the Thunder.
The pace of play is definitely playing into Maroa's hands right now because they're getting it out in transition. They're getting some really good offensive looks. But on the defensive end, they're doing such a good job of slowing down West Carroll and forcing every possession to be worked.
We got a body on the floor. There's Brian Lachelle took an elbow. Cochran's open, and that's a 3. Ben Cochran now with 19 points. He's got 9 in his third quarter. And now West Carroll calls timeout to stop the bleeding.
And Krebs has been on the bench for the last few minutes, which will be a real big thing if Maroa plays tomorrow.
We'll take a look at the graphic now. The all-time high school basketball wins. This is a national mark now. And you see the representation by the state of Illinois. Centralia, Collinsville, Quincy, Mount Vernon. Quincy is playing in a sectional championship game tonight. So still active and a chance to add to that list. But when you take a look at that list all time, shows you how good the basketball is in the land of Lincoln.
The basketball in Illinois has been good for many years. It doesn't matter where they play the state tournament. It doesn't matter how many games you get to play at the state tournament. The basketball has been good from top to bottom. If you go to a high school basketball game on a Friday night, you'll see it so hard fought. The kids just take a lot of pride in their basketball, and they work really hard to perfect their skills.
And you see the shots of the crowd here. Sons coming to the game with their dads and high school buddies reuniting for a weekend at the Elite Eight. And there are scores of fans that, regardless of the field, are here every year.
That's exactly right. You have people that are begging for tickets every year because they want to make sure that they're here for this event.
And the folks in Macon County enjoying the way this one's going so far.
And I guarantee you there's a lot of basketball being talked up there among the coaches that are sitting up in the stands. A lot of scouting going on.
West Carroll could use a couple of baskets here and a couple of stops before the end of the quarter. Not going to get it on that trip. David Painter comes down with the rebound for the Trojans. Outfights everybody and flips the ball ahead to C.J. McClellan. It's a 3-on-1, but he lost the ball. Mills picked it up. Now Mills down low. And a turnover on the inbounds, and nothing is going the way of the Thunder of West Carroll.
You can see fatigue setting in and concern by West Carroll. But Maroa is playing very well, very well.
Cochran off the inbounds. This shot is blocked that time. Up to get it and knock it out of bounds is Chris Anderson, and actually hit one of the Trojans players. And so the ball will go back to West Carroll. Final minute, third quarter. West Carroll held to just 6 points in this quarter. It's been the pivotal quarter all year for the Trojans. They've really excelled in the third period of play. We got a foul. There's going to be some free throws coming for West Carroll. Ben Cochran, one of the star players for the Trojans, had said that the third quarter has been our quarter all year. The coaching staff has backed that up by saying that at halftime they've been able to make a lot of adjustments in their games this year and have seemingly come out strong in those 8 minutes right after the half.
Well, it's sure obvious today that they came out with a very good plan, but I think they gained confidence in that first half, and they didn't execute some in the second quarter like their coach wanted them to, but they're sure turning it on now.
Thought it was a shooting foul there, but it wasn't. West Carroll had the ball, but now the ball's going to go back to the Trojans in this final half a minute of the third quarter. You see the Trojans bench is getting some minutes now to relax a little bit too.
That's what I was going to say, is that Maroa is getting some time for their starters. You're going to be playing 3 games in a 24-hour period, and it's unbelievably hard on kids, and especially when you've got one that just had surgery.
Yeah.
And the more minutes he can get of rest, the better. I wouldn't be surprised if Maroa doesn't start being a lot more deliberate on the offensive end.
Chris Damon is checked in now, the first time for the Trojans, as there's 20.4 seconds to go here, third quarter. A critical third period here for Maroa-Forsyth, which has outscored West Carroll 20-6 in the quarter. Again, they space the floor. McClellan hits the short turnaround jump shot.
Very good job of a high post entry. Got a good look.
And that's going to do it for 3 periods here at Carver Arena.
What a good quarter for Maroa.
Maroa-Forsyth 55, West Carroll 28. 8 minutes left at Carver Arena. Back with more after these network messages on the IHSA Television Network. Brought to you by your Chevy dealers, proud to support high school athletes and their families. Best of luck in the tournament from your winning Chevy team. Ben Cochran, he's scored from inside and outside, and that was our Chevrolet drive of the game.
He's turned the game around with his dribble penetration and his decision making on the offensive end. He's bringing the ball up the floor against pressure, and he's getting it to the open man.
19 points in this basketball game for the Maroa-Forsyth Stars. 17 for West Carroll's Chris Anderson. We talked at the top of the broadcast that those 2 guys would be the key players of the game, and they've lived up to their billing.
Yes, they have.
And West Carroll starts this final quarter with a basketball and chasing a 55-28 deficit. And again, the Thunder try a backdoor play that fails on them.
It was a lob, and it was the pass just wasn't where it needed to be.
It's an exciting weekend, not only for the 8 teams here playing in the Elite 8, but it is an exciting weekend as it is the 100th anniversary of March Madness, IHSA basketball in this state. And we've got many of the legends back here this weekend and next weekend for the AA tournament. So be giving you a little history lesson here and there throughout the course of the telecasts today and tomorrow, and then next week as well.
If you've been a basketball fan for the last 50 years, you can sure look over and see a lot of people you recognize.
Back up the floor now is Rob Naples. Atherton, pull-up jumper off the glass is no good. Long rebound to McClellan. He tries to quickly get it up to Guyman, who's back in the game after having his mouth rearranged by an elbow. So evidently he's okay.
I guess the bleeding stopped.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I'd want to come back in after the elbow that he took, but thank goodness those guys are 17, 18 years old. They can recuperate a lot faster than us.
Yeah, they recover a lot quicker than we do.
Anderson, the jumper from the top of the circle, is no good.
Maroa can use this as a time to get their rhythm back with their team as well, since Krebs has been out for the last week.
Backdoor play to Guyman is no good as the ball's on the end line and out of bounds. And the Thunder will regain possession, and Reed Yoakum comes back in now for West Carroll, and also Chris Damon from Maroa-Forsyth.
They are a go-go team, though. I thought they might back off just a little bit, give some people a little bit more rest, but they are still playing hard and attacking the basket.
Now the question as a coach is, at what point do you start thinking about resting those legs for tomorrow?
Well, I think that's everybody. Everybody has a differing opinion. Mine would be I'd start right now, or at the end of the last quarter. You know, nobody knows his team better than the coach does. He knows what he's doing, and right now I think he'll have patience on the offensive end, and I think he won't be pressuring much defensively and trying to save legs.
Well, the Trojans had never before won a state trophy in basketball until last year, but have put themselves in position to bring home hardware now in consecutive seasons. There's Damon down low. So Chris Damon in the scoreboard.
They've changed their attack, and they're going a lot more inside. It's really paying off for them, and they're wearing down the West Carroll.
Anderson hasn't given up yet. From the low block, his shot is no good, short front of the rim. It's been a tough afternoon for the West Carroll Thunder.
A lot of that has to do with Maroa's defense. Maroa-Forsyth has really clamped down on the defensive end and not giving anything up easy.
There's C.J. McClellan taking the ball to the basket and scoring. That young man has grown 2 inches since last year. He averaged 7.5 points per game last year and better than 13 a game this year. So he's growing not only in his body but in his game.
And he's left-handed, isn't he?
He scored with the left hand there.
I'm really impressed with Maroa's perimeter game.
We've got a timeout on the floor. 4:58 to go here at Carver Arena in this first state quarterfinal. It's all Maroa-Forsyth. The Trojans lead West Carroll 59-28. Back with more from Carver Arena after these local messages.
Dreams and
leads West Carroll 59-28. And a talk to West Carroll's coach, Josh Knuth, at the half. He said what his guys need to do is have fun. And I got some West Carroll fans here now. I know your team's losing, but are you having fun today?
Yeah, I'm having a blast. This is the best game I've been to. The first time we've ever been to state as West Carroll. I just wish we weren't losing by so much.
And I know that the team's struggling a little bit, but I hear that you guys have a great band out here today.
We have a wonderful band. They're playing right over there. They're just tearing it up, you know? They play the great songs.
Well, win or lose, these guys have had fun today. Back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, the West Carroll band is here as well as its team, and they certainly are enjoying their first ever trip to state, regardless of what the scoreboard says. There's Anderson down low and scores. And the folks in that part of the state, in the northwest part of the state, Savannah, Mount Carroll, Thompson, have nothing to be ashamed of. It's an enrollment of 470 students. Congratulations to the superintendent, Lonnie Lemon, and Robert Lamb, the principal, and the AD, Brian McCormick. They've had a great season, and they've run into a buzzsaw, the Trojans, here today.
Lonnie Lemon's an old basketball coach from Quincy, Notre Dame. He's a superintendent now.
Driving, penetrating, and floating and scoring again. That's been the story of this game. The dribble, drive, penetration by Ben Cochran and really all of the Trojans. Robert Krebs has had his fair share. Matt Guyman early on. They've really got nice balance from a lot of different bodies in here.
And it's one thing to talk about cutting out your dribble penetration, but when kids are that quick, it's awful hard to keep between him and the basket. They are very clever with the basketball. West Carroll has not quit either. They're still playing so hard, still trying to do what they're taught to do. They have not gotten break one on the offensive end.
Now from the outside, it's Brian Lachelle. He can't get it to go, but again, another offensive rebound by West Carroll and a foul against Maroa-Forsyth.
Hey! Grab the ball! Let's go, Chris! Chris!
Might be able to hear Chad Kluver, the head coach of the Trojans, right in front of our broadcast area, pleading with his team to grab the basketball.
Might want to give him a headset.
Yeah. We can hear him without one. Inbounds goes to Bren, and he's going to score and get a three-point opportunity.
They needed that. They needed to stop it.
So Zach Brem, who led his team in scoring 8 times this year and had a 23-point game against Chicago North Lawndale, another Elite 8 team, has a three-point opportunity here, the senior forward. Can't make good on it, but it's going to be an offensive rebound by Yoakum, and he just throws up a shot. He can't get it to go. And we got a jump ball as with both Guyman and Brem were fighting for it, and the possession arrow favors Maroa-Forsyth.
When you have a day like this, kids try so hard and they just can't get it done, and they put so much pressure on themselves, and but they never quit trying.
Cochran all the way down. He lost the ball that time. It's a turnover that the Thunder come away with, and then right back to get him is David Painter, and he finds the cutting David, who can't finish. Nice needle nose pass. He just threaded that ball down to Leighton Mater, who scored. So Metter gets the basket there for West Carroll. You're right, they have not given up. In fact, the Maroa-Forsyth bench calls for timeout because they're not happy the way this thing is going. All right, timeout on the floor. 3:22 to go here. Back with more from Peoria after these network messages. We are back in downtown Peoria, where Maroa-Forsyth is 3 minutes and 22 seconds away from a ticket to the state semifinals. The Trojans lead the West Carroll Thunder 61-34. Kurt Pegler, along with former U-High head coach Cal Hubbard, 1995 state champion in Class A boys basketball. Our sideline reporter this afternoon is Sarah Kustok.
Coach Kluver,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Coach Kluver called that timeout. He's trying to slow his team down. He thought they were really getting impatient. They were giving too many opportunities for West Carroll. So I think we'll see a little different attack. We're gone to the flex offense.
And West Carroll's going to get the basketball and come back up the floor now. Fast break opportunity is missed. Now both teams have done a nice job of getting some of their bench players in. That was Jacob Larson, who just had that basket. In fact, now the Trojans are going to send 5 fresh bodies to the scorers table, and some of the guys who helped this team run out to a 30-1 record, work hard in practice, but maybe don't see the floor a whole lot, are going to get a taste of the state quarterfinals here. Offensive rebound by David Painter, and he's got a 3-point opportunity.
It's good to see all the kids get a chance to play, and they've worked hard all year. Nice to be rewarded.
And here come 5 fresh bodies now for Maroa-Forsyth. We're seeing Jordan Zellhart in the game. Ben Kent is checked in. Michael Scott. Darren Sill. And it's going to be a 3-point opportunity, a foul shot here for David Painter. We mentioned that the football team, and many of these guys played on the Class 2A state champion football team that went 14-0. Chance to play in the state football championships and now the state basketball championships. What an athletic year it's been at Maroa-Forsyth. Final 2:44 to go here. So the Trojans, who finished 3rd last year, are going to bring home some more hardware. We'll just figure out which trophy they're going to be playing for tomorrow. Nice offensive rebound and stick back that time by Austin Ashby of West Carroll. And again, a tip of your hat to West Carroll. Its first ever trip to state. 26-5 season for Josh Knuth's team. Last year beaten in the sectional final by Forreston. And this year a trip to Peoria. James Nye in the game for the first time. That's him with the basketball. Final 2 minutes left here now in this state quarterfinal.
It'll be a trip all these young men will remember for the rest of their lives. It's a pretty special time for them.
And the Trojans head coach Chad Kluver holding up 4 fingers as if to spread the floor out perhaps to the 4 corners, but there's a turnover and the Thunder are going to come away with it. Boy, you know, these guys are going to play hard no matter what the score is. If they're going to get into a state game in the final 2 minutes, they're going to play.
Yes, and they're excited about it.
They certainly are. And they were happy to be on the floor yesterday just for the shoot-around, but when they've got that uniform on and they're playing in front of this sold-out crowd, got a chance to play in the game, that's something they'll always remember.
When you walk on this floor, even if you're an old guy, you like to see what it takes to get the ball in the basket. It's really a neat